By the time we are done with all of these efforts and inputs and policy initiatives that we are putting in place, trillion of naira will just be a child's play.
Federal government's quest to actualize a $1 trillion economy hinged on optimal performance of mining and other non-oil export sectors.
We are working assiduously using the tools available to us, which is legislative intervention.
House of Representatives takes campaign against drug abuse to grassroots for a reduction in menace. Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund intensifies measures towards building habitable working environment as World Marks Day for Safety and Health at Work. Hello and welcome to the News Desk at 6 on NTA News24. We are reaching you live from Abuja. I am Vivian Ezadifi. The quest by the federal government to actualize a $1 trillion economy has been hinged on optimal performance of the mining sector and other non-oil export sectors. At an event in Abuja on sustainable development of the mining industry, organized by the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, participants like the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, says a renaissance in the sector is not negotiable. Kunle Adeye reports.
It is an assemblage of the cerebrals. They are gravitating towards the same destination, to reposition mining and steel development in Nigeria, ensure they henceforth contribute significantly to gross domestic products, and create a pathway to achieving the desired $1 trillion economy. From the Minister of Solid Minerals Development to other active members of the sector, achieving this isn't rocket science, but a well-coordinated approach that will allow active participation of the private sector.
By the time we are done with all of these efforts and inputs and policy initiatives that we are putting in place, trillion of naira will just be a child's play. We'll be nudging the trillions of dollars. Already, we are embarking on aggressive and proactive promotion of Nigeria's endowment to foreign investors.
We are going to specifically look for ways and means of ensuring that we account for how the $300 billion can happen. If at the end of the day it cannot happen, we will see how far we can go, and the outcome will be presented to the two ministers.
I'd like to express my profound gratitude to the visionary leadership and management of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, for their confidence in our brand and their willingness to collaborate with us in fostering dialogue, innovation, and progress in shaping Nigeria's economic landscape.
They agree that securing the mining operating environment and local value addition to mined resources are doable if there is concurrence from the subnationals.
I think this is the right thing to go, because this 7-point agenda that you have is what is going to define the industry.
Besides the prospects highlighted, others clamored for de-risking the sector to attract more investors. Kunle Adeye, NTA News.
Again, the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development says following the 60 days deadline given to illegal miners, 70 cooperative societies have been formed and will now be integrated into the formal mining industry, where royalties can be paid to the federal government. Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, announced this at the 2-day step-down retreat for staff of the ministry in Abuja. The minister, however, notes that illegal miners yet to form cooperatives will face the mines marshals.
We are still employing the persuasive method, because some of them are still, some will have some logistics problems of bringing their members together. And we've said that they should come to us if there's anything the ministry can do to, fast track their own process of forming these cooperatives. And they are really doing that. So it's open-ended. However, those who now refuse to toe that line of reasoning, or reason, then we have the kinetic approach, the coercive approach of security. We unleash the security agents on them. And we have been doing that as well. Only last week, the mines marshal that we established, they arrested some people in Abuja here. They arrested some people in Nasarawa. So I've asked them to compile all the details so that we'll push this out to the media so that others will learn that, illegality does not pay.
The need for more manifestation of government presence in local government areas across the country has re-echoed on Good Morning Nigeria. Guests believe this will checkmate growing local demand for small arms and weapons, as well as regain control instead of a situation which gives non-state actors a fertile ground for criminality. Lydia Sampson reports.
Criminals are purely criminals who perpetrate criminalities irrespective of differences. Citizen participation in identification of criminals and criminal sympathizers, Gaston Good Morning Nigeria says, must be prioritized without sentiments and emotions.
Now, most of our people have become informants to criminals. Do you know why it is so? Government instruments of controlling the population, like we in the police, when we join, they want to call information money. That used to be available to DPO, to area commander. Is that information money you give to people to give you information about what is happening in the society? Now, if security agents are no longer having information money, bandits are now giving information money to our villagers. Therefore, as your troop take off from the state capital, going towards the local government, as soon as vehicle passes, they will call them. They say they are coming.
We should try to ensure that the average person is encouraged to be more patriotic, one, by reporting, two, by observation, three, by participating also. Because unless the average citizen is able to own up that, look, we're all together.
Almost all the government ministries, departments and agencies that have responsibility for security are also contributing to that. So the police, as an example, from time to time would mop up small arms and light weapons.
Security experts insist conducting an audit on small arms and light weapons is sacrosanct. They also suggested the arrest of local weapon producers, reorientation of the citizens to do away with the militarization of their psyche that they must own weapons to feel safe.
We have recorded a lot of success in terms of reduction of attack and fatality. And of course, the arms mopping from the ex-terrorists and other criminal elements is getting increased. Okay. And we are getting them into our, armories and in safe places.
If you want us to have the kind of Africa we desire in our hearts, the peaceful Africa, the developing Africa, the focused Africa, then it's good governance.
They urge government to ensure deployment of technology in border management and tracking of illicit weapons. The guests reiterate the need for more awareness creation on the negative impact of complete entrepreneurs whose goal is deepening the criminal economy for dangerous and deadly purposes. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The House of Representatives is taking the campaign against drug abuse and other social vices to grassroots for it to be reduced to the barest minimum or totally eradicate the menace. As part of this strategy, the House Committee on Women Affairs organized a two-day national conference on women sensitization for North Central in Minna, Niger State. Mohammed Rabiu Ali has more.
Seated here are representatives of women from the North Central rubbing minds on how to address menace of insecurity, drug abuse, trafficking in persons, violence against children and women, among other disturbing issues. The Community Participation Stakeholder Support Workshop is also aimed at mainstreaming the women folks for greater monitoring and lead to the success of the campaign for a better society.
as we all are aware that actually if you build a woman, indirectly you are building a nation. And they said all charity begins at home. So therefore, I challenge and I encourage our men to support our women.
On our part as legislature, we are working assiduously using the tools available to us, which is legislative interventions, to ensure that all these vices are reduced to the barest minimum, if not eliminated or eradicated completely.
Speakers at the event are of the view that until and unless all and sundry come together with one voice, the menace of social vices will continue to be a problem in the country.
There is need, however, to increase investment in prevention programs that target vulnerable groups, including women, young children, schools and communities as well.
In line with our mandate, we have been conducting sensitization exercises, psychosocial and vocational skills training for young women and girls who have been rehabilitated.
Participants agreed the two-day conference will open up new ways and reach resolutions that will be of benefit in surmounting identified challenges. The campaign is expected to reach other geopolitical zones of the country. From Mina, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Bit of health now. The UK, through its National Institute for Health Research, is collaborating with the University of Edinburgh and Bayero University, Kano, on a proposal seeking to characterize, integrate emergency management and reduce the impact of pesticides, poisoning and snake bites and venom in Nigeria and the West African sub-region. Uche Ugochukwu reports that this was at a two-day workshop in Abuja.
The workshop served as a platform for comprehensive discussions on the various challenges posed by pesticide poisoning and snake bites and venoming, as well as strategies to mitigate their devastating effects on public health in Nigeria and West African sub-region.
We felt there is need to integrate and strengthen the management of poisons in general, i.e. both chemical poisons and snake bite poisoning. And the UK, through the National Institutes for Health Research, in collaboration with University of Edinburgh, we came together along with Bayero University to put this proposal.
We hope to work with NAFDAC, with the part of the Ministry of Health, to support their pesticide regulation by providing the data to say what are the problems in rural communities and in district hospitals across Nigeria.
Records show Nigeria accounts for the highest burden of snake bites and venoming in Africa, with changes in agriculture and low cost of pesticides attributed as causes. Through preventive measures such as public awareness campaigns and enhanced healthcare infrastructure, the incidence and severity of pesticide poisoning and snake bites and venoming would be reduced.
There are big problems with shortages of safe and effective treatments, antivenoms. There are problems with inadequate training for health workers and communities not knowing the right ways that they can prevent and avoid snake bite. And what we really want to do is try and work with the people here so they can set up an effective program to tackle those things.
On the issue of stockpile, or trying to see if Nigeria will be able to benefit from that so that we're able to get more antivenom for the country.
We are looking at a very big grant from University of Edinburgh in this area.
Stakeholders commit to translating the proposals and recommendations into actionable policies and programs in the country and Africa at large. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Awareness creation is key to the national strategy to combat wildlife and forest crime in Nigeria. To this end, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, has organized a competition geared towards sensitizing youth in Abuja. Frama Panyi reports.
These are some of the winners from the entries submitted in commemoration of World Wildlife Day, which was celebrated on the 3rd of March and highlighted the theme of the year, connecting people with the planet, exploring digital innovation in wildlife conservation.
So I felt like wildlife conservation had to be like an issue where young people can actually just like find a way to find a community around the issue and just, take collective action to solve the issue of wildlife conservation.
People issue that is not discussed everywhere. So I'm like, okay, I need to do this because I need to use my talent to show the world that, that wildlife is going extinct and we need to do something to prevent it.
The award ceremony and sensitization campaign titled Be Wild for Nature, which had global environmental protectors and representatives of the Ministry of Environment in attendance, highlighted the importance of preserving the earth.
However, in the face of these challenges, we see wildlife trade and its negative impact on climate change and our collective well-being is one of the risks to our planet, known as the triple planetary crisis. And it is therefore pertinent that we are doing all that we can to protect our planet.
Wildlife crime therefore contributes to and exacerbates other forms of organized crime.
There was a panel discussion on increasing biodiversity awareness in Nigeria, which saw panelists from Wildlife Africa Fund and National Park Service and WIPO session on the importance of copyright. The event climaxed with goodwill message from the Special Advisor to the President on Youth Initiatives. Frama Pani, NTA News.
You are still watching the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. More reports after this time out. Moving on now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is appealing to Nigerians to develop trust in the electoral process towards the attainment of the much-needed integrity of the entire system. This was at a reflection roundtable on 1 year after the 2023 general election held in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf has more.
Report presentation entitled Electoral Trust Restored, Nigeria's Electoral Process, 1 year after the 2023 general election. The year 2023, memorable in the nation's democracy, as 7th consecutive general elections was held. Additional off-cycle elections and key courts rulings on electoral disputes are areas of focus here. Despite some advancements, notably in voter biometric accreditation and a new legal framework, the elections some observers reviewed had gaps that needed to be filled. It is for this reason that Yaga Africa convened this round table to review the state of Nigeria's electoral process a year after the 2023 general election.
What exactly do we need to do beyond what we have done before? What are those things that we need to put on the table to help us have a better elections? How do we engage the government of the day?
The conversations here also aimed to foster discussion among key stakeholders from INEC, political parties, security agencies, civil society and media to propose enhancements for the electoral process and contribute to enduring electoral policy reforms.
Every time the Election Commission puts on the ground regulations and guidelines in order to address issues of electoral integrity, political actors are not looking at how to abide by these regulations. They are looking at how to subvert these regulations.
Though the 2023 general election was better than the previous election, it also had its lapses that required required and demand urgent electoral reform to address ahead of the 2027 general election. The National Assembly is committed to delivering a reformed and improved electoral legal framework within an acceptable record time.
Participants are hopeful that resolutions from this meeting will bring forward an enhanced quality of future elections, maybe from the forthcoming Edo and Ondo off-season governorship elections. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
African member countries of the International Police Organization, Interpol, are meeting in Abuja for the 10th African Working Group on Cybercrime. Francis Form reports that the meeting is to review progress and measures in addressing contemporary cybercrime.
Is a major problem that cuts across all continents of the world. As such, enhancing interregional cooperation to combat cybercrime is the objective of this gathering of heads of cybercrime units of the 54 Africa member countries.
Remember, you are not alone. Together as a unified force, we have a power to outmaneuver even the most sophisticated adversaries. Let us seize this opportunity to share knowledge, collaborate and strengthen our collective defences.
Please come with a model of training to leverage on these institutions so that people will come in, African countries and beyond can come in to learn from the facilities that we have.
Minister of Police Affairs and the Inspector General of Police in separate messages say the federal government of Nigeria is committed to strengthen the capacity of law enforcement agencies in the fight against cybercrimes.
Let us leverage the expertise and resources of Interpol to build a united front against cybercrime and enthrone sanity in the digital realm.
The Nigerian Police Force has recorded a significant milestone in the fight against cybercrime.
We are working together to make sure that trends, modus operandi are understood and recommendations made to make sure that we work together to put the cyber criminals out of the Nigerian cyberspace.
For us to come together to discuss, I consider it critical and I consider it essential.
The issue of terrorist financing, money laundering, and the traces of terrorist fighters, where they reside, and those who commit crime against the financial institutions are also expected to be uncovered and solution profiled. Francis from NTA News.
The fuel situation on Monday is again biting harder than it did over the weekend. Most is taking its toll on their families who depend on proceeds from their daily activities. Lydia Sampson tells us more.
Joseph Agus's frustration resonates with that of Good News Sunday, who is also a taxi driver. Mr. Joseph Agu is a taxi driver, and naturally he's frustrated that instead of being at work right now, he's spending hours at petrol stations. Let's hear more from Mr. Agu. Mr. Joseph, what is the nature of your job, like you said, and how do you even feel about all of this?
The nature of my job is I'm doing this taxi to make sure that my family fit from it. And then the situation like this, at least we can get fuel easily to buy, then we can benefit from it. But when you queue here, spend the whole hour, how can you get money for you to feed your family?
You have fed the children because it's this thing that I'm benefiting for. If I don't work into this, if I don't use fuel and work, how my family will benefit?
While most motorists are lamenting the long productive hours spent at petrol queues, it is, however, seamless for others.
We don't really know what is the problem. And no one to really come out and tell us what is the problem. So we are inside this since last week. We don't know when it will end.
Can you see blockage everywhere? This blockage has been here like 30 minutes now. They are dragging. So whether we are going to get the fuel, we don't know.
How long you stay?
30 minutes highest.
30 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, you are better. I interview some people, they say 5 hours. So.
Any person will tell you say that 1 hour or 5 hours, in a lie, they lie.
How long you stay?
More than 2 hours now, since the queue start from this Bazan Plaza, that back of that Bazan Plaza now, that's where it start. So at least by thank God, say I don't enter.
Yes, the petrol affected because of this holiday we went. Some drivers, they are not yet back for their Salah days, and some drivers, they are not back for their Easter days.
Some say the irony of the situation is the paucity of funds, saying they are not able to fill up their tanks even after the long wait. However, with more petrol-filled trucks driving in and others waiting to discharge, optimism is high that the situation will continue to improve. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Now to